Hi, I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And we're back from the Wave Rider to review Legends of Tomorrow, Season 3, Episode 17, guest starring John Noble. And if you don't want to miss the amazing guest star John Noble, you might want to come back later because there will be John Noble spoilers!
The Legends must fix two anachronisms at the same time to keep Malice at bay and form an uneasy alliance with one of their enemies.
Okay, now before we get to all the time-traveling adventures of the Legends, we want to tell you about some adventures and some ways that you guys can meet us in the future. Next week, we will be guests of Wizard World Portland. That's right, Portland, Oregon. That is from when, Ashley?
That is from April 13th through the 15th.
That's right, and we will be there all 3 days of the con. We're going to have a booth, which is
Booth number 1220.
So that's right, you can come by, talk to us about all the DC TV shows, talk to us about the Legends, because the finale will be out by then. But stop by the show, Wizard World Portland. We'll have copies of Jupiter Jet there, and we're also going to be on some cool panels, so come by and check it out if you're anywhere in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. All right. Straight to time travel and adventures. So this episode begins. We learned that apparently the Legends have code numbers, like cops, for all these emergencies. Nate comes in going...
Let's be honest, Nate has code numbers.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. And he goes, code 131, and he's like, guys, that means emergency. And I kind of like the moment where Ray was like, no, that means pancakes for breakfast.
Yeah.
And then he starts singing a code word song, which would be dumb beyond belief if it was used by any other character besides Raymond.
It's the most Boy Scout thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then he memorized it all. So Rip Hunter shows up, and he's like, hey, Legends, we need help. We need help to stop Barry. And Wally, of course, thinks it's his Barry, but no, we quickly learn that this is the Barack Obama episode, and Barack Obama is called Barry, which I thought was a very nice joke.
That is a thing that he did. That was his nickname when he was a young guy, and they really played that Barry Allen joke. Earnestly, though, Legends, stop Barry Allen. For God's sake, because he creates more anachronisms than you do.
Well, actually, to be honest with you, that is brought up quite a bit in this episode.
Yeah, they shade Barry hardcore.
Yeah, so Wally shades Barry a lot about Flashpoint. Flashpoint's mentioned several times in this episode.
It's also mentioned as if everybody knows about it.
Yes.
Which I don't know if that's true for the DC TV universe. I don't know if characters like Nate and Amaya really know that Flashpoint even happened.
I also don't know if Heatwave even cares.
Oh, he doesn't. He's like, do I have more beer now? Great. Also, Heatwave, Lord of the Rings fan?
Yes.
F yeah.
Well, we don't know if he's a Lord of the Rings fan, but obviously he wanted to watch the movies.
Yeah.
So, which is very interesting. Which also goes to stretch out the joke that goes into the title of this episode.
Oh, but my favorite Barry joke, run, Barry, run.
Yes, we get Ray saying run, Barry, run to Barack Obama.
It was cute.
Okay, so we get a scene with Nora Dark writhing around in a warehouse / empty soundstage.
It's a soundstage.
It's literally a soundstage. They just pointed the camera behind the set and they did the soundstage. You can definitely tell they're saving that money for either the Gorilla Grodd special effects or next week's finale.
And you can tell that Neil McDonough is cold.
Yes, you could see his breath. So obviously, as well, you were like, oh, could they not heat this soundstage?
Maybe. That's also sometimes a shorthand for demons. Or so I was just like, I get it, it's Canada. But
this episode, I'm going to say it a little bit right now, to me was a bunch of good moments, but no good plot. And one of those good moments is where Ray shrinks Gorilla Grodd inside the bottle, which I thought was a nice little wink of the Silver Age coming back at us, which I thought was really kind of funny.
You thought that was a good moment?
I thought it was a Silver Agey moment, which is something that Legends can pull off the stupidest comic book moments and somehow make them work. Now, Legends can't make other things work, but I find when they lean into the comic bookiness, they really work.
I don't know, I feel like there's been too much Grodd this season and it's been very casual.
Hey, they have that CGI model and damn it if they're gonna use it.
Dude, I get it, and they paid for it, but I feel like on Flash, he was a very serious threat, and here he's a punchline.
Now, the real question is, this is slight spoilers for the end of the episode, which we already gave you a spoiler warning, so settle down, friends.
Don't tweet him.
The end of the episode, we see this giant, massive demon form of Malice, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How many of the shows do you think that shows up on next season? I think all of them.
No, legit. I just think it's gonna roll over and be recolored for Legends because Constantine is joining the team. So we need more magic-based foes. And I mean, Malice is really, not to jump the gun, but sort of a generic demon-looking guy.
Sort of, yeah.
You know, like, he looks fine. He looks fine.
All right, so let's talk about what I thought was one of the highlights of this episode, and that is Damien Dark wanting the help of the Legends. I actually, to be honest with you, I felt like this was the most real Neil McDonough has been this entire season. He was very plain spoken. He was very calm. None of like the cheesy. Well, he's good at the cheesy.
Absolutely.
But it's an interesting turn to have Damien Dark be like, ask the Legends for the help. And even the moment where he was like, oh, the Ankh is upside down, guys. You want me to help you with this? I could do this better than you.
I love that the Constantine left them with a binding spell.
Yeah.
And they still screwed up.
They still screwed up.
But I don't know if it's because they're incompetent or because John was maybe drunk when he drew it, so he might have drawn the Ankh upside down.
I'm going to put it on that Ray just doesn't know magic stuff.
But I liked that, and then I liked that sort of to prove that I'm kind of a good guy now.
Yep.
Damien Dark flips it and then binds himself in this, and then that was a very funny moment.
I liked the moment at first in the character turn where Sarah refusing. She's like, "Kill him. He's a time anachronism," which is true. What did you feel about this moment?
I thought that was a good moment. I think this is a good episode for Sarah.
And Damien, yes.
It's always a good episode for Damien.
I mean, this is really Damien's show,
I'm going to be honest. I have zero complaints about Neil McDonough. I hope he joins the cast full time next
Oh my God, that
season.
would be amazing.
Earnestly, I think
Damien
the turn... there you go. I think...
Lenny Light.
No.
Lionel Light.
No.
Yes, there it is.
No.
Lionel Light. Yep.
Terrible name. Traditionally, people, Smallville fans know Lionel, not a good name in the DC TV universe.
Doesn't matter. Works
Bad
for villains.
Name.
Works for villains.
Honestly, though, I thought, even though we got a touch of it last episode, I think the turn for Damien Dark comes too quickly.
Yes.
And I think it's too convenient, but I like him so much
that you don't care.
That I can move past it. But when I think about the structure of this season and this episode, very convenient.
And I will say that the arc of this season is very rushed towards the end.
Yeah.
That was our problem with last week's episode, and I think that is still a problem of this episode. There are too many storylines going on right now.
Totally.
All right, real quick, I just want to ask, why is Rory using his fire gun when he has the fire totem?
Jason asked that when we were watching.
We had a whole scene last episode where we're trying to train him how to use it.
Because we know that Jax is coming back for the finale and he's going to get the fire totem. So just get used to him using the gun again, I guess.
All right, let's talk about, so the big storyline is Amaya going back to 1992 to stop the massacre of her village. We see old Amaya in her old makeup. It was okay.
Terrible. It looks terrible.
Yeah, her voice was not great. She didn't really age her voice at all.
Also... she's not doing, and she's never done an accent. She's not doing an African accent.
Yeah.
And her daughter is doing an African accent.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
And I guess you can make the argument that Amaya went all over the world and she lived in America and her daughter was raised in Africa. But to me, like, that really kicked me out of a lot of their scenes together.
We see that her daughter has rejected the totem, but then her daughter, so young Amaya is like, we can make it work. We can change time if we just convince my daughter to take the totem. And Wally is the only person in this whole thing where he's like, guys, this is stupid.
The youngest member of the crew.
This is stupid. And the least experienced time traveler.
But he brings it up a couple times. He's seen Barry screw up time so much that he's like, hey, I've seen Barry screw up time so much. You really don't want to do this. And then everyone's like, nah, it's fine. And Wally's like, there's literally a line where he goes, what?
Yeah.
And he says what we're all thinking in that plot line.
Let's also talk about something that makes me go, what? And that is Sarah going to talk to Barack Obama about her problems. Okay.
I mean, I guess they paid this actor for 2 days of work.
Well, one, look, actor, you did a fine job. I don't think you really did a good job as Barack, but we'll move past that. I don't think we needed Barack Obama in this episode at all. I really don't think he added anything to this, and it really didn't bring anything to the episode to have this be Barack Obama. This could have been anybody in this part.
I agree. I'm a big fan of President Handsome in real life. I know he is a nerd. He's a comic book person, but...
he's not doing anything. Actually get him in the episode.
Right. Like, he's water skiing or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what he does.
He'd probably do it.
In his free time. But I also wonder if he's a figure who is too close to
modern
contemporary day for it to work in the same way that some characters we have more time on work.
Sure. Yeah, but I don't really think it works. Also, like, the thing that I don't really think that works, that seems like such a stretch, is the fact that they're talking about, well, how can we make Mollis? What's our plan? And for some reason, Rory is now watching The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, on the bridge of the Wave Rider, and they hear John Noble's voice, and they're like, that kind of sounds like Mollis. Who does the voice of Mollis? And then it leads to the best scene in the episode, where Ray is giving John Noble new lines from Peter Jackson, and we're hearing John Noble, and it's like, oh, this is shite. You know, like, this is terrible. John
Noble is an effing treasure. Yep. They're so lucky they got him to this stupid scene. I've been to New Zealand, and I lived in Canada. Doesn't look like New Zealand. No. Looks like Canada. I really appreciated, though, Ray's hat with the leaf on it. That's an iconic New Zealand logo, so I appreciated that.
Yeah.
But this scene, considering the episode is called Guest Starring John
Noble,
it's really like under 5 John Noble.
Yeah.
And it was funny, and it was cute, and it was this meta-narrative thing, and he's like a king of the nerds, so that was fun. But as far as, again, this is a plot point to take down Mollis, terrible idea.
Well, yeah, again, it's such a stretch. Mm-hmm. And again, like, it's almost to the point where, like, this whole episode is built around to get to this scene, which is only one scene. And at the end of the day, not that important to the overall structure of this story. Like, you can take this scene out, and guess what? The ending still happens.
Yeah.
The ending still happens, because guess what? Damien betrays you every time, like he does in this episode.
Yeah, they came up with this, like, clever title and tried to cram an episode around it.
Yeah. So I also think the other great scene in this episode was Damien to Sarah. Talking about, if I could take this all back, I would. Look at you, from League of Assassins to Legend, not a bad journey. And I love that he says this line to Sarah, be like, without love, we're left in the darkness. And I thought the realness and the emotion in this scene with Neil McDonough, I think this is the best scene of the season.
Absolutely.
This is him saying this to Sarah. And again, we're back to this mode, and this is something that a lot of the Arrow characters do, and the Arrow does this on the show a lot of times, where the Arrow characters forget their journey. Yeah. Like, they forget, they're like, oh yeah, like, I guess I am good now. And they do it, Oliver does it every season. And so it is ridiculous that Sarah's like, oh, I guess I'm an assassin. Again, it's like, no, you're a captain of a ship. I thought that was all of what last season was. Yeah. You're the captain now.
Yeah.
Get over it.
It's probably the best scene in the whole thing.
Yeah. Though. I did really like the idea. I thought it was very smart writing to give Damien the death totem, and the idea that he was going to team up with them.
Yeah.
I really thought that was a smart piece of writing.
I also think it's telling that Sarah doesn't hesitate to give it to him. She doesn't want it.
Yep. Now, let's talk about Ava.
Let's.
Ava being like, I'm not with this idea. And of course in this episode as well, she tells Rip, like, oh, I'll accept your resignation. And then you know, we find out in this episode that this is the 12th Ava. Is this
that's a Doctor Who reference?
That's what I was going to say. Is this a nod to the 12th Doctor? But also, I think they would have said 13th.
I wondered if it was 12th because that was the Doctor who came after Arthur Darvill's Doctor.
Maybe, yeah.
So I was wondering
or 11th or something like that. You probably should have made 11th. What do we think about Ava being like, I'm not helping you?
First of all, I was surprised to learn that she wasn't the original Ava.
Oh, I wasn't.
And I think... Not to, if I was writing it, but I think it would have been a stronger choice that, like, no, you were the only Ava and you're that good. Because he tries, it's just a bad look for Rip right now, and I'm tired of going back to the well. Like, we started there with Sarah hating Rip at the beginning of the season. Like, I'm over it. I'm over the Legends being mad at Rip. They're all better when they work together as a team, and I think this is, like, I like the story for Ava, but I don't like it for Rip, and it's just a contrived way to, like, have some drama with Rip before we all team up for the end, in my opinion. I don't love it.
Her being the 12th version of Ava makes her story more tragic. The fact that right now Ava is struggling with, all I am is a clone.
Yeah.
I have no purpose, and the Time Bureau's it. And then when she learns that she's cannon fodder, just like the Legends were at the beginning of this season, that is part of the reason why I maybe believe that she turns against them. And I think it makes her feel even more worthless. And so that's why she's like, you know what? Damn it. If you guys are going to be worthless, I'm not as worthless as you guys were because I used to make fun of you in episode 1. So damn it, I am following the book and I'm following the rules.
Like I said, I like it for her. I don't like it. It's a bad look on Rip.
Yes. I'm still hoping there's some explanation for it.
I don't know. There's usually not.
That she's essential to something.
Yeah, I think so. I think she's gonna die for sure, though, especially after Sarah says that she loves her.
I think she's definitely gonna totally
die.
dead. Yeah. Okay, so we get to the point where we're facing Mollis in Zambezi on a road that looks just like Canada, and we find out that Grodd destroys the village. That no matter what, the village was gonna. It's a fixed point in time. Don't you watch Doctor Who? One of their cast members are on your show.
Yeah. And I was like, well, we sure paid for the Grodd model, so here it comes again.
Yeah, here comes Grodd again. And I'm with you. By this point of the episode, I was like, Grodd, go away.
This is why I didn't like it, because we had I didn't mind, Grodd was fine in the opening or whatever, but to have Grodd have spent this whole time sneaking out to be Deus Ex Grodd just to exist for this moment, I don't love.
But I did like the idea of them facing Mollis in that country. Like, the Todas were going to be strong.
Yeah.
And then you find out that chaos. Damien was betraying them.
Of course.
And, eventually, Sarah stabs Damien in the back but doesn't kill him somehow. Don't know how that happens.
Well, maybe she missed an essential
But
organ.
then eventually Mollis shows up, and we get to see Mollis, and it's kind of, I thought it kind of underwhelming. I thought it was kind of underwhelming.
I agree. I would agree with that.
I didn't think it really led up to it. So let's go straight into the rating based on a scale of 1 to 5 Wave Riders. Ashley, what do you think you're going to give this episode? It's guest starring John Noble.
I love Lord of the Rings more than any fictional thing in this entire world. I think John Noble's a treasure.
Sing us a song, Master Hobbit.
I think that was not bad.
That was more of Sean Connery, but I'll give it to you.
That was not bad. I think Ray is appropriately excited to have met him.
Yeah, there was that one line where he's like, and I met John Noble.
Great. The best gag in the whole thing. You mentioned at the top, there's a couple good moments that are strung together on like a piece of dental floss that is this episode.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that with the finale, maybe some of the moments will pay off again. I'm going to give it a 2.5. It was fine. It was just... Also, Mollis was not as cool as I was hoping it was going to be. What are you going to rate this episode?
Look, this is not Bird People from season 1, and that's always our scale. We need to remember the Vandal Savage turning people into bird people.
Please send us some Bird People action figures.
Jax having a beak is the lowest point of Legends, okay? Let's just put that's our scale, okay? Yeah, this episode suffers from the same problem that last week's episode suffers from, that there's just too much, and that there's not enough time given to any of the storylines. To me, the 2 storylines should have been Amaya in her country and Damien Dark on the Wave Rider. And that's it. No John Noble, no Grodd, and no Barack Obama. None of them. Because just focusing on those 2 storylines would have made everything else so powerful. But because we have Zambezi, we have John Noble, we have Barack Obama.
We really have 2 storylines that only exist for one-line jokes.
Yes, we have 4 storylines going on in a 44-minute episode. And that's ridiculous. That means that each storyline only gets a maximum of 10 minutes, which is ridiculous. And I think, again, we've been building to the reveal of Malice for a long time now, and I really felt it fell flat so hard. And to be honest with you, I was really jazzed going to this finale. Now I'm not.
Cautiously optimistic?
I'm cautiously optimistic because Constantine's coming back, and I really hope that's going to turn us around.
We also know there's a whole bunch of guest stars from the Legends pantheon
but I'm hoping the episode doesn't just rush. But I don't know. I know where we're going. I'm giving this a 3. It was right in the middle. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. All right, predictions, Ashley. What happens in the finale of Legends?
Well, I said it before. I'll say it again. I think Ava dies, and I think Ava is going to die sacrificing herself for Sarah. She's either going to die taking out Nora or taking out Damien because she believes that Sarah is good, and she said that, and that she's past being an assassin, so she's going to do the thing for Sarah. She's going to get revenge for Sarah so she can die in Sarah's arms and Sarah can remain like pure and good. How about you? What do you think is coming down the pike for Legends?
I agree. I think Ava dies. I think Ava is the hero of this episode. My other prediction is that I really hope that Rory gives the fire totem to Jax. And this is how we get Jax back on the show, because I do miss Jax. I wish he was around on still.
I was thinking him and Wally would be cool friends.
They would be
fun
cool
together.
friends. Yeah. All right, so go down in the comments. Tell us what you think is going to happen in the finale of Legends tomorrow. While you're down there, click subscribe so you can see more videos.
And if you want more cool, exclusive, geeky content, go to patreon.com/Jawiin and join our super friends in the Hall of Justice.
See you around for more videos, super friends.